Welcome to the Kidmin Huddle with Amber Pike, where children's ministry leaders get equipped, encouraged, and empowered to disciple with intentionality, growing God's kingdom one child at a time.
Welcome back to the Kidmin Huddle. I am joined today by super fabulous glasses wearing Christen Clark. We are fun glasses buddies. Christen, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
So you have a very wide repertoire of the cool things that you do. First and foremost, mom.
That's a nice way of saying it.
Right? You're good at lots. So wide repertoire. First and foremost, your mom, 2 kids.
Yes.
You have your real estate license, right?
No, that would be fun though. I should add that. I did insurance for a minute.
Insurance. Okay.
Anymore.
I was close.
That was good.
Um,
I remember that.
Hey, I got it almost good memory sometimes. But you're also the host of not just one, but 2 podcasts.
Yes.
So you've got the Kids Collide podcast, which is a podcast for kids and families to listen to. Mm-hmm. And then you've got the 7-Minute Devotion for Parents podcast, which is a newer release that just came out like 2-3 months ago.
Yeah, in September.
Awesome. Okay, so which is your favorite baby?
Oh, that's like picking your favorite kid, I mean, the Collide Kids podcast has been around since 2020. So it's my old, mature, it flows, it goes, I love that show. And I love all the people I've got to meet from it. And then I started the 7-Minute Devotions for busy parents because I am busy, as you had just said. We all have a wide repertoire of things we do. And so I just wanted to offer some type of devotional for families, for parents to listen to. And so, so I just started that. That's just me teaching. So I don't bring anybody on. It's just, you just hear from me for a few minutes, a couple times a week.
I love it. So this is the direction we're going in today. We're talking about podcasting. Okay. And don't tune out, listeners, if you're like, well, I'm not starting a podcast, because you still need to listen. I think, and I know your answer, but I'll ask you, Christen, do you agree with me that podcasts are a really great tool to use to equip mom and dad?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think one of the things I think everybody has listened to a podcast before at least once. Maybe you've listened on YouTube, or, you listen to those true crime shows or whatever. There's so many options out there. And I think it's such a unique medium that so many families can get so much more out of, because it doesn't feel like homework. Like if you're a ministry leader and you send out a podcast for someone to listen to, they can do it while they're driving, while they're working out, they can do it while they're doing chores around the house, or just have it on while they're, existing in their home, whatever. I mean, there's so many options, and it just provides another medium and way for you to reach families. And so, I think podcasting is a great way to connect with your parents and give them those resources.
So let's think through this practically. I know you're on the creating side of the podcast, but I'm going to assume that you're a podcast listener yourself. Yeah. So for the Kidmin leader who's like, okay, I've not thought about how am I resourcing mom and dad via podcasts. What could this look like? How could they go from, ooh, I should do this, to here you go, mom and dad, listen to these. So how would they get it to moms and dads? How are they choosing all of that? What does that look like?
Right. So one of the things I think ministry leaders are doing a lot. I worked in kids ministry for almost 20 years. So I understand. I really do relate with just all the things, and we're bombarding them with content, and you're like, I cannot send them one more thing. But it's so accessible. It's so easy. Starting with the easiest thing. So you can just find some conversations. Maybe on Sunday you talked about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Now you can go out and find a podcast that reinforces that their kids can listen to talk about it at home. You can find a great sermon or something that you could send to them that somebody else has put out that just kind of keeps that conversation going. So it promotes conversations within their family they can listen to together. It also helps those parents to kind of ingest the information in a different way. We all have the different learning styles. Some people are visual, some people auditory, some people are kinesthetic. I'm trying to think back to my education degree. And one thing that we've learned in the past years since I was in school, which was a long time ago, is that everyone connects with those different modes of learning. You might have one that's more prevalent, or one that you gravitate towards more, but you're still going to get content. You're still going to learn if you get it from one of these mediums. And so by providing them with long form content, because we think everything's about social media. It's about that short form stuff. We got to get it done. We got to, in 1 minute or less, I've got to give them everything they need. But actually that doesn't really build credibility. And so you're getting, it feels more like that conversation, to be a part of a conversation, to talk about these concepts. And it could just be encouraging. It might just be that parent needs something to encourage them to keep going, to stay in God's word, to keep the faith when they feel like they just want to quit or give up. And so you never know how much these podcasts you're sending out might be useful. So you could include them if you send out a newsletter, or if you send out a promotional text about something. Send out a once a week, just say, hey, here's some great resources for you to check out, and include a podcast in that. Because someone might not be willing to read a 3-page blog, but they would love to be able to just press play and listen to something in their car as they're driving their kids to every practice and thing that their kid is involved in. I'm speaking from experience. So, I think it's so easy for parents to take it and to listen, especially if it comes recommended from a trusted leader. So don't send out something you've never listened to or you haven't vetted yourself.
That was going to be one of my points, because
don't just I found this in my search, or Chat GPT said this would be a good thing to
send
out. So you go ahead and listen to it and make sure it's legit, make sure it's a good leader that's, talking about this. But having that recommended by someone they trust, which is you, is going to be, I think, a crucial for them to take that information better.
And I think there's the beauty of, you can kind of tailor it. Sometimes it doesn't have to be the same podcast every time. It can, it can be the oldies and the goodies. Right. But maybe you've been teaching on praise, and you found a great resource on equipping moms and dads to lead with praise. Or, hey, we've had a lot of questions from the kids on XYZ. Here's a great podcast episode that might help you understand it. And the beauty of podcasts is there's 18 million bajillion ones on there. So you can find some great ones on pretty much anything. Yeah. So what are some of your go-tos that you like to listen to, other than your own, of course, obviously the Kidmin Huddle?
No, I was going to say one other thing, thinking about seasonal or big life happenings. If you have someone who's had a death in their family, if you could find a podcast that is a great resource for encouraging or how to talk about death with children, or if your family's going through a situation, or your kids are asking lots of questions about something going on in the world, a podcast is a great way to kind of broach those conversations. You can also think about seasonal things, like we have Advent coming up, things related to Lent or Easter, or
Thanksgiving,
just topics that kids are interested in that you're like, we're not covering, the Revelation chapters in our kids ministry coloring pages, but your kids are asking about this. So let's, send them some resources. So thinking through some of the topics that are easy to kind of miss over on our regular program days, this would be a great way to broach that with podcasting.
And add it to your resource list as you go on. This is one of the things I've learned in this, I don't know, almost at the later half of life, I guess, because I'm almost 40, so that hill. But make a continually growing resource list, because you're going to get questions. And then you want to have something instead of just being like, I don't know, I'm going to spend the next week looking up stuff for you. So become a podcast connoisseur, to where you can build your resource list. Be like, this podcast, this episode, it's perfect for this. Make you a file in Canva or Word or Google Docs and hyperlink it. That way, when people ask you, you have a go-to. Same thing with Christmas, Easter, all those things. Just have that growing list, add individual episodes, or even main podcasts. Like, I know if I want apologetics, Mama Bear Apologetics is going to be a great podcast listen. So that's kind of one of those evergreen. I've listened to enough that I know that it's trusted and they're not going off in left field. But make those lists so that you're prepared with them.
Yeah, I love that. And you could even create a playlist, like these are the top podcast lists I recommend to people, and create a playlist in Spotify. And then you can just share the playlist and say, hey, if you're looking for more great resources, you can send them that I can't say Spotify right now, Spotify list. And that way it's already there and you don't have to go search for it, So that's an easy way to do that. Yeah.
And it's free.
Save it.
Podcasts are free. So if you are tight on money, but still want something really quality to put into the hands of parents and families, it costs you a whole nothing to email out, text out, put it on your Facebook group, put it in a newsletter, make a postcard. I've done that in Canva, where I'll make a postcard with a QR code. Canva will make a QR code for you. Here you go. I'm putting it in your hands. You can scan it with your phone. Right. Easy peasy.
That's so good. Yeah, that's so easy. I love that. So I love I love all the podcasts that have been on my podcast. So, so can I say that?
Yeah,
So the Bible for Kids, with Mike Naraki, and I think he has a new host now. Mike Naraki was the guy who played Larry in VeggieTales.
I've met him. I'm that cool. His number's in my phone.
I was like, oh, we're friends. I'm friends with Larry. But that's a great show. It's not, I don't like their title. I'm sorry to say that.
Yeah, you can say that. Sorry, Mike.
It's actually not for kids. It's really for parents looking for resources. So if you have parents that are interested in different topics, it's going to be a conversation where they're talking about a resource or a book that kids can, benefit from because their parents learn about it. So you could listen together as a family, like if you're looking for something like that. But the Bible for Kids is great for resources. The Family Discipleship podcast is a great one. Backseat Bible Nuggets is a lot of fun. I'm trying to think of some others. I mean, there's some really good ones out there, and the Collide Kids podcast is pretty great. And that one you could listen to as a family, so you could send that out. Like if you're having, conversations about one specific thing. I've been doing this since 2020, so there's over 200 episodes. Surely there's a topic that we could cover on that. So, so it's a lot of fun. But just check out those different podcasts and look to see, what are they saying about these different things. Look at the author. If you have an author or a resource provider or a publisher that's your favorite, go search for that and see what comes up in the different interviews they've done, and you can send that out as well.
Yeah. So my boss, Josh Mulvihill, he and his wife just started the Gospel Shaped Family podcast, and it's really fun. They're doing a fun Stump Dr. Josh segment in theirs, and he just got asked in their Thanksgiving episode how many turkeys America eats. So go listen to find that.
Ooh, okay.
So I've started this podcast list of some of my favorites. I want this to be a new resource that I come out, and your 7-minute devotions for busy parents is on my list, because I'm all team support your friends, right?
Yes.
So I listened to the first one and I'm like, this is great. And then I listened to the second one, and they're all just super great nuggets. It's that short, that sweet. I mean, you can listen to it while you're popping over laundry and changing it out, because I don't dry any of my shirts because the dryer likes to shrink things, and we're a tall family and you can't be wearing belly shirts, So switching over laundry.
Ministry.
Right. And hanging them up. I love, it's just you talking what's on your heart. Mm-hmm. And it's so good. So please go listen to the 7-minute for Busy Family podcast. Add this to your resource list. So tell me a little bit about, why do you want to start that one? You've already had a podcast. So 2 podcasts. Do you want more work, Christen? What made you want to start that?
Well, I recently have been, and I say recently, the past few years, I've really been diving into learning more about myself, discovering how I can better use my spiritual gifts. So I did the place assessment a few years ago, and one of my top gifts was teaching. And at the time that I took it, I wasn't in a position where I was teaching at all. And so I thought that was interesting. And so I started talking with different people and realized I really love to do that. So it's opened the door for me, to have more speaking opportunities. And I've taught at women's events and family events and different things at my church. And so I think it was just one of those things I just really wanted to do. And the podcast, my first podcast, the Collide Kids podcast, doesn't really lend itself to teaching. But I'm just such a Bible nerd, and I love diving into God's word. And so I just felt like I think it would be really fun to offer that. And both my shows that I started, it was because I was looking for something like that. So I was looking for a devotional podcast that I could listen to. And I got into one that had started years ago, and I started listening, and then they're like, this is our last episode. And I was like, no, as soon as I got into it, they'd already quit it. So
in true Kidmin leader fashion, you couldn't find it, you made it yourself.
Make it yourself. That's what we do. So I just wanted to find something. And I feel like, I don't know of one parent that can say they're not busy. I think every parent is busy. Yeah. And so I didn't want to make something that was too long form, that was, too much, just a little bite, just something, as you're driving, like you said, doing laundry, just petering around the house, getting things done, and you just have a few minutes to spend with the Lord. So I was really excited to start that. And in fact, I got a text from a family member yesterday. The episode that just came out yesterday was God Opens Doors. And she said, I was listening to your podcast and I'm in the hospital right now. And the cardiologist opened the door and he said, it's time for you to go home. And so she sent that to me and I was like, that's amazing. So I love how God is taking that content and that information and just using it. And that's what I want. I want people to know who God is and to know how much he cares about them and to just spread that as far and wide as I can. So I love that, I can encourage people with stuff like that.
I love that. So it was one of your first episodes, you said that your favorite book of the Bible is Leviticus. And I remember listening and thinking, you are crazy. That is the book solely responsible for me often failing trying to read through the Bible in a year whenever I did it chronologically because I get stuck in Leviticus. I'm like, how do you love it? It's so weird.
Yes.
But I love the Bible nerd coming out.
Yes. Well, and I went to seminary, so I didn't love it before seminary. But I think one of the things we had to do was take each book of the Bible and condense it to one sentence. So like, what is the purpose of this book? In other words, like that's what we're trying to figure out. So looking at all the different verses. So I have to create this chart that starts with every verse and then like funnels down to like, what's the main theme? And that's how I fell in love with it, was just as you're digging through it. And that's the beauty of God's word. As we dig further into it, we learn more and we grow more and we discover who God is. And so yes, I do love Leviticus because it was about God's passion for drawing near to his people. He was giving them all these rules and regulations and ideas for worship because he wanted to be close to them. And so he was providing a way to be close and to be in the midst of his people. And then later in the New Testament, he fulfills that when he sends Jesus. And so Leviticus is that picture that God desires to be close to you. And so that's what makes it my favorite.
So fun. See, there's a little taste of her Bible nerdness coming out, which I say with like love and like, yes. Okay. So there are so many great podcast options out there for every length, flavor, topic, all of that. But let's shift a little bit and talk to the Kidmin leader that maybe feels like, hey, this is something I want to do. Maybe I should start a podcast for my families, which would be a great way to kind of continue your individual lesson series, whatever you're doing, or maybe I want to do one for my parents to equip them. Talk to us as if ground zero. How hard is it? What do we do? How do we get a podcast started?
Yes. Well, I would like to tell you that it's very easy to get started. It's harder to keep going. And so what I've created actually is a webinar. I've actually had so many people in this past year approach me like, can you help me? I'm just interested. I want to talk about this. I'm interested in starting a podcast. And I'm like, yes, you totally should. Because I think one of the misconceptions is, oh, there's so many podcasts out there, so I don't want to add to it. I don't want to put something out there. But there's not your voice in the podcasting world, first of all. Second of all, there's a statistic that says most podcasts don't get past the second episode. Ooh. So a lot of people have started podcasts and they've put out 2 episodes and then they stopped. And that's why there's so many podcasts. Yeah. So there might be a ton of people that are putting out podcasts, but if they don't make it past the second episode, then their topic that they want to talk about or that audience they want to reach, they've missed it. Like they've only gotten them 2 or 3 episodes and then they stop. And so I've put together this webinar I'm really excited about next week, November 18th. So if this goes out before that, I'd love for you to sign up for that. But this would be a great opportunity for you to learn how to start it, what it's like, what you need to do to begin, and how to sustain it. So if you start with a plan and a strategy, then you're going to be able to get past that second episode. In fact, I'm going to help you get past the 10th episode. And so I'm going to really help you structure this out. I am not a structured person. I am not an organized person. So I need templates and I need strategies and I need those things to help me stay on track. I am a very determined person. And so that's what's helped me get through this. And I've made a lot of mistakes. I've tried a lot of different things. And so I really just want to put all that together and just help people that want to do this. And I'd love to have individual conversations with everybody. And I have that's asked me about podcasting, but also really want to help people just to get it off the ground. And so this is just a way that we can do that. I love that you said that ministry leaders could do this because I really believe this is a great way for you to send out information and content to your families or even to your volunteers. If you're looking like we really have got to work on better volunteer training, what if you created created a 10 episode or 5 episode podcast series. It doesn't have to go on every month. Mm-hmm. You could bulk record it and you could get all that content out in these episodes and then send it out to them. And that's their training. They have to go through the podcast. It doesn't have to be video. It can be audio. You can use YouTube. There's lots of different platforms where you can put the stuff out there, but it really does help you get the content out there in a different way that people are going to actually listen and pay attention. Because like we talked about those learning styles before, some people are not going to read the email that you send. Mm-hmm. And I'm really sorry to tell you that.
If you haven't figured that out now, you're brand new in children's ministry.
I'm one of those people, I don't read it until I need it. So I'm like, what is the thing they're doing tomorrow night? And then I scroll through to find it, so I'm not reading your emails, but if you send me a link, hey, here's the update for this week. And you just send them a podcast newsletter. Okay, first of all, that's so cool. And second of all, it's so easy. And you can just lay out all the information and they're getting it and they're listening and they're paying attention. So it's going to build, I think, more of knowledge in your mm-hmm. ministry. If you were to think of some idea or whatever, if you have another idea, like, okay, I'm really passionate about foster care, or I'm really passionate about sea lions, or whatever it is, you can take
like those are the two you've randomly thought of.
They go together. You can take that and put that into that gives you that creative outlet to talk about the thing that, you walk up to people in parties and they're like, listen, I can't take any more sea lion information, but you don't know who out there might need that sea lion information. And so if you put it in that podcast form, it gives you an outlet. It gives you a way to talk about those things and then put it out there for other people to learn and to grow. And so, so I love the idea. It's called micro audience. So it's like you could do one for your hometown. Like maybe you're like, this is a great place to visit and nobody knows about all the cool things we have. You could interview people in your hometown, like, like the local places everyone likes to visit. And then it promotes your town. Like there's so many options. It doesn't have to be something that goes up on the big score. I don't know what that called, the scoreboard, something that's huge.
Like the billboard, the equivalent of like the billboard charts. Yeah.
It doesn't, if 50 people listen to your show, that's 50 people that you've reached. If 10 people listen to your show, that's 10 people that you've reached and helped in some way. And so, I think anybody can start a podcast. If I can do it, anyone can do it. And so that's why I'm putting together this webinar, is just to help people discover what it is they want to do, what they want to get out there, and then how they can accomplish that and get past that second episode.
I love that. So it is, when you're starting out, it's a little discouraging when you see those like 12 people listen to it and you go and you're watching your stats. But I learned something recently. So I didn't hear the 2. I heard like most podcasts end by 10. Mm-hmm. And I would totally believe too, like they're going to fizzle out. But if your podcast makes it past 10 episodes and you're averaging at least 30 listens an episode, you're like podcast royalty.
Yes.
And I'm like, so I was in this meeting with this guy who speaks tech jargon. And I'm like, there's no way. Like that cannot be an accurate statistic. 10 episodes, 30 listens. That's not great. This can't be right. And so I go to Google to fact check. By golly, he's right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's really low. Like the so many podcasts. And if you make it past 10 and 30 people are listening to it, you're rocking it. So friends, it's not about reaching the masses. Right. Unless you're like, I don't know who's famous that has a podcast. I listen to ministry stuff, right? Jesus. If Jesus had a podcast, he would go viral.
I don't know how many downloads he would get.
I know, it's true. It's true. But if you have a small number,
right,
that's okay. If you are reaching your target audience, so let's say you have a small church and you only have a total of 10 parents. If one parent listens to it, you've won for that parent. So numbers are not everything in ministry. You've heard it before, hear it again. If you are equipping a parent or grandparent or a ministry team member or a family with the information, you're grounding them in the word, you're training them to fulfill their calling, you are winning, even if you don't have amazing stats. You shouldn't be doing it just to make money and get famous. Do it to build the kingdom. and don't get
podcasting
discouraged.
is evergreen. So you could put something out there about a specific topic, and a year later, a lot of people start downloading it. It's still reaching people. So it doesn't just fizzle out and go away like some of our social media stuff.
Yeah.
It's evergreen. It continues to promote. And so if they're looking for keywords in your captions or in your show notes, you're gonna grab more people. So don't be discouraged if that first week you only get 1 or 2 people to listen, because it could be in the next month or in the next 6 months that you're going to get more people to connect with that content. And so, yeah, that's the beauty of podcasting too, is it's evergreen. You can promote it in different ways.
I'm on this would be episode, I think 146. And I still get some of my first episodes are still getting views. And I'm like, wow, these ones are way better. You should listen to these first. But once they discover you, they'll likely come back and do more. And then you further your reach. So if you're just targeting your families, awesome, important goal. But as it builds, share about it on social media. Other people are going to join in, and you've just furthered your reach so that you're getting that message out, which is great.
Absolutely. And if you have a new family that joins, say, hey, we put out a podcast for our show if you'd like to learn more about our ministry, and then you can send them the link for one that you did 6 months ago. So you can still use that resource and that content.
Yeah. So I don't want you to give us all the spoilers from your workshop, obviously, because if you guys are thinking about it, this will be a invaluable tool. But talk to me a little bit about cost, because let's say I am small church or small budget, or I've already used up all my budget dollars and I got nothing else. Give me a ballpark. How much is it going to cost me to start a podcast?
Well, if you have a laptop or a phone, it can cost anywhere from $0 to about $20. So some of the platforms that you can use do cost money. Those are like a monthly subscription, but there are free platforms that you can use. So it's really about the investment you want to make. And it's one of those things where you can start as cheap as possible, start with the $0 option, and then work your way up to something that's generating more, and you need more quality, a microphone or whatever. But you can use your headphones, you can use your phone to record, you can use a lot of different things that you already have. So I would say the cost of a phone or a laptop,
which you already have.
Right. But if you don't have those things, that would be the first place I would start.
So what you're saying is that our friends really, if they're feeling this nudge that, hey, this is a great idea, they've really got no excuse not to do it, because it's low to no cost, and you're going to help walk them through every step of the way to where they can have the plan, figure out the nuts and bolts, those little extras like you were talking about, like keywords and captions, those little things that can make the difference if you're looking for growth. So really, what you waiting on, friends?
Exactly. It's easy. It's so fun. I love it. Every time I do it. There are some things that are harder than others, but like I said, I'm very determined. So, it is an investment in your time. And so it is something to think about. Like, if you have that time a week to carve out, but work ahead, build it into your schedule. Like, just do it for 1 week, try to do a few hours and knock out everything for that month. And then you're just posting and publishing when you need. So there's ways to do it. If you don't have that big chunk of time, you can do it little by little. There's so many different ways to do it.
And I think from the planner side of things, when you are stepping back, you can plan with intentionality that you make this such a seamless fit to what you are leading in your families. Mm-hmm. And you're able to multi-purpose and make this like ecosystem of stuff. So you've got your lessons that you're teaching your kids, and you're wanting to train parents, because training is that aspect that we tend to forget when it comes to family discipleship. So we're wanting to train parents, and we're wanting to resource families. Well, if you've stepped back and you're planning and you're preparing, you can do all of that through your podcast episodes. You can get multiple pieces of content, like good quality, not just like checking a box doing it, but it really is a blessing to your families on how you're doing it.
Yeah.
Christen, this has been great. Can you give us one, as we kind of wrap up, like one piece of advice for someone either to start using podcasts as a resource or starting their own? Give us one piece of advice.
I think for me is make sure that you have a plan for at least 10 episodes. Mm-hmm. So even if it's just your weekly newsletter, or it's a training thing, or maybe it's a Bible study you want to talk about, make sure that you have something planned for 10 episodes, because like I said, it usually fizzles out at the 2. you get one out and you're like, that was so hard. And then you do one more and you're like, and I'm done. Like that.
And if there's not the views, you're discouraged. So you're quitting.
That's right. It wasn't what you thought. And so really have that plan set in place for at least 10 episodes. And then that way, once you get past that second one, you're like, okay, but I know what I'm going to do, because that's where we start to get bogged down. Like, did I do it right? Was it messed up? Did I do this? Should I add this? And you can still have all those thoughts, but if you have that structure, that helps you not have to come up with a new idea. You can just go on to the next thing. So that would be my big advice, is to have a place, a 10 episode plan in place, and that will help you stay motivated and keep going.
That's sound advice. Yeah. You want that plan. just sound advice. Okay. So where do we go to sign up for this training course? Cause they're hooked now. I can tell. They're like, yes, this is my next thing. So how do they sign up?
Yeah, so they can sign up on my website, kristenclark.org. I have a little blurb there. It's also on my social media. So if you follow me on Facebook or Instagram, at Christen
Which you
Clark,
should.
Christen is spelled with a CH with a Christ in it. So I'm very spiritual. Okay. So search for my spiritual name.
With an E, Christ in, E-N.
E-N, yes. Christ 10, number 10. But yes, if you find me on any of the social platforms, I'll put a link here as well, so you guys can click on it.
Yeah, we'll have it in the show notes.
Yeah.
But you guys should. Kristen's podcasts are fabulous. She's had some amazing guests on her Collide Kids podcast. I love like the kids joke segment because it's just fun. It's light. She is a wealth of knowledge because she's been doing this for a while and passionate about it, which makes all the difference. You don't want to listen to a boring teacher that doesn't care about their thing. My husband he works in automotive, and he was just at a training, and they hated having to talk in front of people. So like the leader's doing the training, and he's like, yeah, that was rough. And that's not Christen. She enjoys what she does. So she's going to be fun, passionate, and just that super practical what you need. So Christen, thank you, one, for coming on here and talking to us about podcasts and this training you're offering. But then two, thank you for the kingdom investment for answering God's call by doing these podcasts. You have no clue the impact that you have, nor will you probably ever have a clue of the impact, the kingdom impact you had by just being obedient to the call God gave you to start a podcast 5-something years ago. So thank you for that, for what you do in the kingdom. Friends, go follow Christen, go sign up for her training, start dreaming, thinking, praying. What sort of a podcast should you be starting? Start listening to more podcasts. If you're not, it's a great free resource tool. Definitely check out the Collide Kids podcast, the 7-minute devotion for busy parents podcast. I always forget the word busy.
Yes.
Just think parents, but yes, busy.
You're busy. That's why.
We are, because I'm busy. I forget it. Exactly. Go check those out. You will be so grateful you did. Add them to your resource list. Christen, thank you so much for being here. It was a joy to have you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I appreciate all you've done. You were on my show a couple years ago, right? And we had a good time. So
we did.
If you're looking for another good episode, if you want to hear us talk to each other again, you can listen to
I talked about my cookbook on there.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. All right, Christen, thank you. My Kidmin friends, remember, what you do matters.